Okay, so we're back, and now it's Saturday. It's September 14th. We've let the epoxy dry overnight on our tape to make sure it was good and hard. And in fact, the epoxy did set up correctly, so we could just go ahead and peel this tape off that had the old epoxy, had the epoxy on it to verify it. So there's our jack. And we're just going to go and replace the piece of tape back into the area where we had it marked off to go. Right? Get that placed in there. And down to the switch, or down to the jack. Cut it with our scissors. Right? There we go. So we've got that on. And today, I think we're going to be able to get this guitar into a playable condition. So I spent some time last night, doing some research as to what the level of relicing would be. And also, more importantly, did some research to kind of try to figure out when the 5150 logo was attached to the guitar. And that to me would determine how much relicing we needed to do to the paint before we put this on, and then what the condition of the guitar would be afterwards would be sort of up to us. But let me first show you a couple of things. So we have these are some images that I pulled off of the internet, and I guess this is fair use of them. But so we have right here, this was taken from the 1984 tour, and we have the 5150 here. And it obviously doesn't have the logo yet in there, but the date on this particular image I can't really find, although it's not particularly important. We go here, it's on the guitar. There's some wear up at the forearm contour. But again, not particularly interesting to where I'm trying to figure out. But here we have some tour photographs, and this was taken on February 4th on the 1984 tour, and the logo, to me, it isn't there yet. All right, it's not there yet. So we know as of February 4th, 1984, that logo was not on the guitar. Now if we go here, this is also January 18th. We can see this is also from the 1984 tour, and there is no logo, no 5150 on the guitar. So let's move to another picture. All right, we see this here January 18th. Still no logo on there, no 5150. Here is basically one of the earliest times I can find with that on there. And this was actually a show I was at. This was the March 31st, 1984 show at Madison Square Garden. And I was at that one. This is also from Madison Square that night. You can see that's on there. There's very little wear to the guitar. There's the cigarette burn on there. There's a little bit of paint missing up on the upper black stripe. You can kind of see it here too. There it's missing as well, so there's a little scrape or a little bit of a lift there. Here's a better shot of it. There's the scrape again. There's a little bit of a wear, it seems. That could be a reflection, but it looks like some wear on the upper horn. That to me looks more like a little bit of a paint lift from a secondary pick kind of like tape. And also there was probably some lift around this area from him taping his cord from his output jack for the wireless there. So we've got, I think, an era of when that was put on there and how much relicing was done to the guitar, or how much wear it had before that logo was applied. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one a copy of the guitar as it was on the night of March 31st, 1984, since I was at the show. Now, I guess, everybody likes a really relic one, but I've got one of those, and this is probably close to being as it sits today, obviously without the zebra stripe Wolfgang humbucker in there, but the stripe wear the gouges into the wood itself, the widening of this stripe from his palm or edge of his hand, moving the volume pot back and forth, the tape wear from where the picks were at. That's all there. So in my opinion, I think we got to do a little bit of wear here. There really isn't anything to speak of in this area under the logo, so we could just go ahead, I think, and put that on. And there'll be a little bit of the start of the tape wear up here and maybe something here. All right, so I think it's time then to go back to the projector and put on the 5150. So let's go over there. Okay, so we got back down on the projector. I've got the logo and I've cut the 0 away from the 515, and that's going to allow us to kind of obviously raise up the 0 because the 0 is actually higher than anything else. So I'm just testing it right now to see how it all looks. That's pretty good right there. That lines up perfectly. I mean, these letters are literally matching the projected image. Size-wise, perfectly. Alright, so I'm going to go and remove the tape from the back of the strip. From here, start with this one. And the letters should stick, hopefully. Yep, they do. To this part, not to that part. Alright, so now we can start laying this down. Making sure to place it where we want it. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Give myself a little way to cheat maybe by putting most of it on the paper, and I can just line up the bottom. All right. Try to make sure I get it in the exact right place. It's got to come a little bit like there, so we could stick this part down. Get that on there. That looks right to me. And I can just peel this back and kind of lay it out again. Yep, and we're right on the money. That's great. I was hoping that was going to go okay. And then it's just a matter of putting in the 0, and as you can see, when I get the 0 lined up, it's about a 1/16 of it, or rather an 1/8 of an inch higher than the rest of the logo. So I don't know why that happened or how it happened, but it happened. So there we have that. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Put most of the image or most of the piece on the tape so I could just align it a little bit easy. That looks right. I think that's it. So now we can peel this back and just kind of lay it in. Alright, so there we have it. The logo is on. So now I'm just going to go and firmly kind of work down the letters. If you have a squeegee, like a rubber squeegee, like something you would use, let's say, to like apply Bondo. If you guys that have ever worked on cars know what I'm talking about, the little plastic card. That would be good too for kind of adhering this down onto the guitar so that it doesn't lift up. Now's the time to do that. So I think we're good there. So let's take the tape, protective tape off. And when you take this, it's best to peel it low to the ground, like that. If you peel upward, you have more chance of messing up your logo or your transfer. Okay. And there it is. All right, well, that's a little bit of stress gone. So I think now we're going to stop, and now I'm going to take advantage of one of the great things about living in Raleigh, and I'm going to go get some barbecue, and I'll be back, and we'll start putting this guitar together.